Hi, everyone. Welcome, all of you Hardy's Team Jack, Team Eclipse people, viewers, fans of Dan and Aaron. We're glad you're here. I'm continuing my chats with the cast and crew of Santa Tell Me. And today I'm so excited to have an actor who plays Darcy, who is Olivia's sister in Santa Tell Me. Jess Brown. Welcome, Jess. Yay.
Oh, it's so nice to be here.
How
Thanks for
are
having
you?
me. Amazing. Amazing. I'm excited to talk about the movie. Feels like it's been a long time.
It was a long time ago, wasn't it? Yeah. This one filmed back in, was it February, I think?
Yeah, I think so. And it was really refreshing because it's nice to film a Christmas movie when it's cold out. I remember that
Right?
blessing.
Yeah, because usually you're sweating in the middle of summer, right? Trying to pretend you're cold.
No, which is a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, too funny. Well, you're a new face to some of our Win Calls the Heart fans. That a lot of the people on these pages found Dan and Aaron because of Win Calls, so you might be a new face to some of us. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Victoria.
Okay.
Yeah. And I grew up doing a lot of musical theater. That was like my passion. It was dance and musical theater forward. Um, it's kind of what I always wanted to do. I like ever since I can remember my high school, even when I was in the elementary school, I was in rehearsals for something. It was just like so arts has kind of always been a passion for me. And then when I was like 20, I actually had an injury which stopped me from being able to dance, which sucked at the time, but it kind of brought me into seeking out other artistic avenues. And I started training in some film and television. And the change from musical theater to television acting is huge.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
It's just like such a different style. I remember my acting coach was always like, please face the character. Because I was always like, hey, he's like, you can just look at the person you're talking to, actually. So after get some training and had to do some of that. So I actually got a scholarship to school in Victoria, acting. It's a film and television intensive.
Okay.
Did that for about a year and then made the move over to Vancouver. And then I've been living here for the last 10 years.
Okay.
Despite a little few year break in the middle, I have kind of just been auditioning and working when I get the opportunity. And yeah, things have been going really great the last couple of years, and I'm hoping it
Yeah.
to go that way.
Nice. And what a great city for it. My goodness, what a hotbed of productions up there, huh?
It is, and I mean, at the time, like 10 years ago, there was no work in Victoria, like you could not. So it's also been really great to see how much work is going to Victoria too. It was a kind of crazy. One of my biggest roles at the time was on a Hallmark mystery series called Martha's Vineyard Mysteries.
Yeah, yeah, those are fun. Yeah.
And I got brought back to Victoria to do that. So it was kind of like ironic. I was like, wow, look at that.
Oh,
Since then, things started to pick up on the island too. So it's kind of nice to be able to do both. But yeah, I love Vancouver.
oh,
It's a bustling city for sure.
yeah. Do you still have some family and friends on the island then? Do you get out there often?
Yeah,
Yeah.
my mom, my dad, my brother. I'm friends with all my high school friends still. So I have a pretty big community there. I'm over there quite a bit.
Yeah. So about what age was it that you kind of transitioned from the theater to the
Mm,
TV and film work?
probably like 20, early 20s.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that before when you said that. That's really interesting, the just the positioning, the transition from theater where you're so used to a live audience and having to, yeah, to TV.
Specifically music theater too, because musical theater is very, it's
Yeah. And big, right? And musical theater is you have to act more big.
yeah. So it was a very humbling experience learning how
Yeah.
to. But now I don't even know. I haven't done a live theater performance in so long. I wouldn't even know how to do that anymore. So
Oh, right. Yeah. Wow. Is there a big theater scene in Vancouver or?
you know what? I haven't investigated it a ton. I've
Mm.
heard from people that it's maybe not like the best. I think Toronto and stuff, like places closer to New York, are maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
But there is a theater scene over here, and I just haven't really looked into it because it's tough when you're auditioning all the time for shows. It's like for film and TV, like
Mhm.
things just happen at the drop of a hat, All of a sudden they need.
Mhm.
So committing to a theater project would maybe take me out of the auditioning process for a while. And I just haven't really had the urge to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. So I did scroll through your IMDb page a little bit. You have quite a variety of work, which is really cool. Some big shows like So Help Me Todd, that was a fun one, and Batwoman. Do
Mhm.
you have a favorite genre you like to work in? Do you like comedy, drama, TV, films?
That's that's tough. I
Yeah.
think in a perfect world, I'm gonna get to do it all the time. Like I that's what I love about acting, getting to play different characters and explore different things and be forced to learn about like different walks of life and the way people think. And so if I had it my way, like I'll continue to get to have the variety. I mean, I love Hallmark and they've been our relationship has been growing for years and
Okay.
really lucky to work with the network a few times and I, dream of being somewhere in Erin's position. And getting to do the lead on these things. That's definitely a huge goal for me. But at the same time, I'd be lying if job security wasn't a thing, and job security comes with a TV show, So that's
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, on So Help Me Todd, comedy is scary. Comedy scares me maybe the most.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like if you're doing a drama and like you maybe don't get a tear or something, people can still feel things. But if you don't get a laugh with comedy,
Mm.
people know. But I got really lucky. Actually, I got lucky and then unlucky with So Help Me Todd. The role that I had booked was intentionally brought on to carry a story forward in season 3. And
Oh,
then unfortunately, the show got canceled.
yes. Oh, what a bummer. Oh,
I
yes.
mean, like every successful actor has a handful of those stories. So this is just like
Yeah.
a one step closer to that.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
now that one had a lot of great people comedically too to work to play with, right? Like, yeah.
it did. And like, however, it's pretty crazy to come on to like a film set because, or sorry, a TV set because with the film sets, like Santa Tell Me, you kind of all come in together and you create the vibe together and it's that. But I found like stepping onto a show that has already been running for 2 years and these actors are like, and you're just like trying to play catch up, trying to figure out how to get low. Um,
Mhm.
it's a workout. And yeah, I hope I get the opportunity to hop on with some great actors like that again. And because there's just so much to learn from people who are
Yeah.
like really in that world.
Yeah. Was the Martha's Vineyard role, was that multiple movies? Did your character show up in, or was it just so?
Did the one she
Mhm.
was she was up to naughty business, so they bring her back.
Yeah.
It's a red herring.
Yeah, those are probably fun to play, but yeah, if you're the bad guy, you're only gonna last one one of those mystery movies.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure we cleared my name, but I still, it's a.
Oh, too fun. We'll have to go back and watch it. I think I watched all of those, but I gotta go back and find you. Okay, good, good. Well, let's dive into Santa Tell Me a bit. So tell me a little bit about how that came about for you. How did you come to get the role of Darcy?
Oh, so that I mean, it crossed my path like most auditions do. Roll, throw the audition out there. I noticed right away. I love the script. Like I was just like, oh, I love this character. You're constantly auditioning and taping and doing things, but there's definitely certain roles that you do and you're like, this isn't for me. It's
Mm.
for me. And I remember feeling that way about this character. So actually I taped and I sent out and it's an interesting thing now with since COVID, a lot of things have moved to online formats and self-taping. Now we don't usually go in the room anymore. So which is great for convenience, but there's something about it that kind of sucks in that like you don't get real-time feedback. We're actors, we're supposed to be able to shift and change, like we give our perspective and but we've lost a lot of that. So something I love about this role particular is I ended up getting a note from casting and they asked me to retape. And they asked, and it came with a bunch of notes from Ryan himself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the way it read, like I just felt like he had my back. It really felt like he was like, this is how we see it. Do some takes, like let's see, and it was like small adjustments, and again, just really came down to perspective. And so I was like, great, let's do it. So that on tape, and then I got hired shortly after. And Ryan and I spoke about that later, and he said that he was I was right in thinking that he was championing me, because he was. I guess for him, as far as what he's told me, he really thought that I was right for the role. And there were things that network was like, well, we kind of want it to have this. Could she do it? And Ryan was like, she can. We're gonna get her to
Oh,
tape. So yeah, so it's kind of fun because it really just made me feel even more confident about like my initial feeling of that I was right for the role.
yeah, I love that. That's so cool. That probably doesn't happen that often, does it? That you, yeah, in the self-tape world. Yeah.
Since COVID, that's probably like the first time that I've ever received like direct notes from a director.
Wow, that says a lot about him, definitely. Yeah,
Right? Love that
yeah.
guy.
And about how much prep time do you have from when you get is it not a lot?
Thing. Actually, we had this like funny day on set where I always had to like get my nails painted like every day. And so I'd always be like standing there on set, like, as we're like doing things, and they wanted to roll on something. And I was like waving my hands, and Ryan goes over, and this is like 2 weeks in, and Ryan's like, why are your nails always wet? And I was like, well, Ryan, you cast me a week before we went up. So
Yeah, no kidding.
nails done, okay?
Oh, too funny.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
prep
yeah,
time.
you really got to be ready on the blink of an eye like that, huh? Yeah,
Yeah, which
yeah.
is like exciting. And then it also comes down to you get the script, and then it takes a little bit for them to work out the schedule too. So I remember being like, I have all these lines and I have all these scenes, but you don't even really know what you're doing on the first day. So you're like, do I just learn it all? I guess.
Right. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a lot. Oh. So
No.
had you met anybody from the Santa Tell Me world, like any actors you'd worked with before or crew or anything like that?
The only person I actually knew was Benjamin Ayers.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just know him personally from we've just met a few times, and um, friends, acquaintances kind of vibes. And actually, I remember when I was doing my wardrobe, the girls who were doing the wardrobe got an email, and they were like, "Oh, we just cast Nick A," and I was like, "Oh, who is it?" And they said it was Ben, and I was like, "Wow, that's amazing!" And at that moment, I was like, "So Ben's in it, but he's not the male lead." I was like, "Ooh, be a good project," you know. I was like, if Ben's hopping on, and it's not like,
Right. That's a great point. Yeah.
just gave me like and as you see, the other males that they cast are all stars. So I was like, that was like my first hint into like, this
This
could
is
be.
something.
Yeah. So
Yay.
I think we got to have like a couple days on set together, so it was really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to be there for one of the days, so that was fun. Yeah, to see the three of you kind of work together. That was fun. Yeah. So, so you play Olivia's sister, Darcy. So what can you tell us about Darcy? What's the character like?
Darcy is she's like got she's very positive, like I think she has like a lot of faith in just like things are going to work out, you know.
Okay.
I think she's got like a little bit of sass, which inherently I think sometimes comes with my characters because I'm like, it needs that.
You like the sass, huh?
I remember when we were shooting the first day, Ryan came in and we were filming the scene, and Olivia's kind of commiserating, and I like kind of made the choice to, instead of being like, oh, kind of like laugh and joke and play. And I remember Ryan being like, I know how I wrote it, but it might be better.
Yeah.
I think she brings light and she brings fun. I think she really, really looks up to her sister. Like really believes that like Olivia is going to get things figured out. And I think she's a cheerleader for her.
Mm.
And yeah, and it's like a little off the cuff in the process, and willing to have some fun, and pick her up when she's feeling down and
Oh, good.
this fun journey with her.
Do we get to meet Olivia and Darcy's parents in the film?
No, you don't
Oh,
actually.
interesting. Yeah.
I wonder what they're up to, honestly.
Did you write the parental backstory in your mind?
Maybe a sequel.
There you go. I like
Maybe a prequel.
it. So a sister bond is a really special one, and definitely one that's portrayed on Hallmark quite a bit. So did you and Erin do anything special ahead of time to prepare for that? Or because I know Erin just has a brother in real life, so she doesn't have her own sister to draw on. But what about you?
Oh, I also just have a brother. But no, that's the crazy thing about film is they're like, this is your family, or this is the man you're in love with, or whatever it is, and you don't generally meet each other until you start shooting. So, I remember looking and being like, oh, okay, like Darcy and Olivia is a lot of scenes that we have together. And so like you kind of think about it in the way like, oh, I hope we, mesh as actors, but also just as people, because as you saw from the days that you were there on set, like you're there a long time.
Hmm.
And so immediately, actually, my friend, a good friend of mine, Max, he was on One Called the Heart. He played Daniel's brother, I believe.
Oh yeah, Max Lloyd Jones.
Yeah,
Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Good.
he's a good friend of mine. So I remember texting him being like, is Erin cool? Please tell me. Do you think we'll get along? And he had
Mhm.
great things to say about her. And yeah, you don't meet each other until you're basically ready to start shooting. But I remember sitting there and, past the pleasantries and hanging out. I It's kind of funny because Erin, she is like professionalism. She is beauty. She is grace. She's super fun, but like in a really like picturesque way too, where you're just like, wow, she's really got it together. And I'm like a little bit more off the cuff, a little bit like, eh,
Okay.
And so as we're sitting there talking, I remember saying something to Erin, and she like simultaneously was like laughing at and with me and like was like slightly aghast by what I had said. And I was like, immediately in that moment, I was like, this is it. This is like
Yeah.
relationship, like
Hmm.
where we're both good people. We both like want to have fun and enjoy, and like we're just like a little bit like different in our approach and stuff. And so like right away I was like, oh, we're gonna really vibe. And then actually I remember after we filmed our first scene, the producer, I think it was, and about two different people came up and they were like, so you and Erin, like how long have you guys known each other? Like they thought we'd known each other forever.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
They were really shocked to find out that that was our first time working together. Like they were like, wow, I would never have thought. So,
Yeah.
that makes me really happy. And I really hope that that comes through in the film because we had a lot of fun together.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
really
that
glad.
yeah, that probably gave you a little moment of like, oh, phew, mission accomplished. Like we can kind of relax into it now. And yeah.
Yeah, because like we're all humans and
Yeah.
not everyone is going to be everybody's favorite person. And like we're at the end of the day, everyone's going to be a professional and get the job done. But it's better and easier and more fun when there is like a genuine connection, right? And
Yeah.
so it was really nice to build that with her. And I just learned so much from being in her, just existing around her. She's such a professional. She's
Yeah, that's awesome. Are the majority of your scenes with her, or does Darcy get to interact with the guys much, or
The majority of my scenes are with her. Yeah.
okay,
There was a scene that didn't make it where there was a little bit more interactions. I interact a little bit with a couple of the guys here and there.
hmm.
Um, Daniel and I don't think we interact as much. We did have a scene that was set to do, but we had to cut it because of time. Um, but yeah, I mean, I mostly saw most other people in passing,
Hmm.
on the day. Yeah.
Very cool. Um, so with I find the storyline of this so interesting because it's one of the first times you see that many like all of these I said to Ryan, all the Hallmark hunks, multiple in one movie.
Aaron, guess
I know, tough job, right? The photo. A photo of her with the four of them. It's just like, oh my gosh, tough gig, girl.
Hard. She deserves it.
But what I kind of love about the idea, like I love that they cast a sister for her because any girl can relate, like in the dating world, like the first person you're going to go to talk dating advice is a sister. So I'm really curious, like that relationship between Darcy and Olivia. Does she go to you for advice or is it more like, is it encouragement or do you kind of stir up trouble? Like, what's that kind of vibe there between the two of them?
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right in that, like, I think Darcy's main purpose is to like talk all this through with her, you know? And I think it like kind of depends on the day. I mean, Olivia, as any woman who's dating four handsome men, is going through a roller coaster of emotions. So, I mean, like sometimes I have to bring her back up. Sometimes I gotta like convince her to push through. Sometimes I get to laugh at her misery and, like
I love it.
it's it's very much I feel like exactly how it would go if you were dating four very good looking men and needed to chat with a girlfriend or a sister about it.
Yeah, like a sounding board. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And Darcy's got like her own ideas on how things can go. She's I think she fancies herself as a little bit more savvy, which whether that proves to be true or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, I definitely have some advice.
So on that, with the sisters, are there any roses giving out like Hallmark Bachelorette edition there?
Like, am I giving them or is
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting thought. Have the sister give them. That'd be interesting.
I wonder if Darcy has her pick, honestly, if she would like she'd probably, well, obviously the man that Aaron ends up with is the right, or Olivia ends up with is the right choice. But I don't know, you'll have to see how. I think it's way more exciting than a rose ceremony on how these things end up.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Maybe they could do a sequel with Darcy with the whoever Olivia doesn't end up with. Maybe Darcy has a little
We,
romance.
we did talk about that a little bit. Like nothing on paper, but
Yeah.
was that Ryan and I were like, we're working together again. And I did say a few times, if you'd like to write a sequel,
There
yeah,
you go.
you'll have all these lonely men out here and you can't leave them.
Yeah, exactly. I like it. I like that philosophy. Too fun. Well, let's see. Without giving any spoilers, did you have a favorite scene from the movie or particular shot that we can be on the lookout for?
I mean, I think there's a scene that's going to be the favorite of the movie. I'm not in it, but that's okay. Um, they have like posted a tiny clip of it out there in preview. But I just think when you get 5 stars of Hallmark working together in the same scene and the ability to add some fun and comedy, it delivers. I was there the day they were shooting, and it's going to be fun. And as far as for me, probably my favorite one to shoot was one that you probably know a little bit about. There's not often action scenes in Hallmark, and this one that brought a little action. I remember reading it in the script, and I was like, I get to what? This is gonna be so fun. And the way that like the way that things are filmed is not necessarily exactly what you see on the screen. And so the filming process of this one scene was hilarious and fun, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes of it.
Okay. So something with a little action, you said?
A little action, yeah.
Interesting. So maybe that answers the next question about any fun stories from set. I'm hoping to have Dan and Aaron on as well. So if you've got any goods on them, or what about a great blooper? Like if there was a blooper reel, are you on it or?
I mean, yeah, I feel like we had a lot of fun, and I would definitely say there's definitely, if there's a blooper reel, there may be scenes from the one I just talked about because the mechanics of the way that you film something is a little like hilarious sometimes.
Yeah.
And I remember shooting this one scene with Aaron. It was hard to get right, and it was very funny in the process. We also shot out at this house, and there was like suddenly multiple cats everywhere. But I remember there we Aaron and I were trying to shoot the scene outside, and these cats kept coming out of nowhere, and one of them scared the crap out of Aaron mid-sentence. It was super funny, and like they were just those cats had us on edge. We're trying to be so present. They were just like showing up out of nowhere. There were so many of them. I don't know. We were like out in a farm world, so
Okay, I was gonna say, were they like barn cats or yeah,
it was a beautiful house, but out in the farmy lands. So yeah,
yeah.
it's as I think it's just going to be really fun. As far as am I going to be in blooper reels, I think I need to watch my language every once in a while. I think I have some potty words when I get a little tongue tied. I think if I noted that I was like, if I ever want to be in a blooper reel, I need to like. Yeah,
Classic.
I do know that they were like they would flag certain things for like a potential blooper reel. So I really hope that that comes to light someday. It's somewhere. Someone has it.
That would be fun. So, does the movie in general, is the overall vibe, did you get to do a lot of comedy, or is it more about the romance, or is it kind of a balance of everything, drama?
It's a balance.
Okay.
It's magical. It's comedic. Ryan's writing is fun. It's just fun. Like
Yeah.
he writes a lot of clever things in there, innuendo, just like space for there's a lot of like physical comedy, I think, if it
Okay. Yeah.
comes through on the camera. Um, and then of course romance, you know? Yeah, I feel like it's really going to be the whole package. I'm really, and I feel like as we were making it, we were like, this is going to be good. So
Yeah.
I really hope that that happens. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I've never seen it. So I'll be watching it with you guys on November 9th. But if it is everything that we thought we were creating, it is going to be a very nice package of a bit of everything.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I love that. I definitely got the vibe. I talked with Ryan a little bit about this, that there's a little bit of that kind of old school Christmas magic happening. I mean, anytime it's about, I mean, the synopsis talk about Santa leaving her a letter, or, anytime that's going to have some of that, but it just taps into that kid in every viewer, that kind of still likes to believe in those fun things. And
It's yeah, there's a hint of whimsy that isn't in
Mhm.
all of that. And I like that. Like, yes, you have to, you know, what's the word? Like, let that in and be open to like just enjoying the wonderment of the possibility of that. Like, I feel like a lot of Hallmarks are a little bit more, um, I don't think they've touched as much into the potential magic of Christmas or Santa per se. Not all of them. And so I think, yeah, I think that's the right way to say it. It brings in that old school, like, let's talk about like the magic that could happen, that brings you back to being a kid and actually feeling like this is like Santa's a magical being,
Yeah, exactly.
and Darcy's very, she's on board with that for sure.
I love it. Yeah, some of my favorites the last couple of years from Hallmark have been those ones, which kind of surprises me, to be honest, because I love like the real world romance of it. But like Ghosts of Christmas Always was one. Round and Round was one where it was like a Groundhog Day where she kept reliving the same, things that you suspend reality a little bit, right? But it's there's something so charming and new about it. So yeah.
It is charming, and I love that they're like putting in a little bit more of that. I think it's fun. I mean, if there's ever a time to like feel sentimental and feel those like that childhood belief and stuff, it's Christmas. So if there's a place to add it in, just why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
Fun,
Yeah.
and it gets a little something different. And I'm
Hmm.
kind of with you. Like I was also a little bit surprised because I was like, oh, like I'm an adult. Maybe I'm over that kind of stuff, but I'm not clearly. So
Yeah, there's something just it just makes you feel sentimental, which is always lovely at the holidays.
I agree.
Yeah. So as I'd love to hear an actor's perspective when you have a director who's the writer and directing you. Does that add do you still feel free to kind of ad lib if it calls, or do you feel a little more pressure to stay to the script, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think I think both. I think Ryan himself is just he's just so open to playing and so fun. And that guy can like there was a lot of freedom and sometimes due to time, we couldn't do setups or, and having Ryan on set to rewrite some stuff. Like sometimes we'd be rewriting on the day and just being like, okay, how can we like make this work for what it is? And that guy can come up with like amazing stuff just off the cuff. So that was really fun to have. He wasn't like about his script. I think I went in expecting that to be maybe a little challenging, but he was so free. And I think the best part is there was like an inherent level of excitement that it's his baby. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes when a director comes in, like they are focused on like their job as directing and making and like there's so many people are attached to the story in different ways, but to have a director who's so attached to the story because it's what he wanted. And I think like the vibe I got was that he really trusted his casting and like, so for instance, like I said before, when I was doing it different than I think his writer brain had wrote it as far as Darcy, yeah, I think he was able to clock and acknowledge, oh, that's different than how I thought that would go, but I like it. He had the flexibility and I think he really, really trusted a lot of us to just do it, and bring, he doesn't have, he's not full of ego in the way that he's like, no, this is the finished product and this is exactly what it has to be. And like, I think he sees the benefit of having other people's eyes and other people's takes on it. It just brings it even more to life.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah,
But
for me it was special like being there physically to see everyone is just so creative and you all bring such different I mean that has to be because I wouldn't consider myself a creative type. So for actors, you guys, that's like inherently part of you. So to be on set must just be where you thrive because you're just surrounded by all these creatives like you that are just bringing something to life. And for someone like Ryan, taking something from a blank page and being able to see it all the way through just has to be special.
I
Yeah.
know I'm not a writer and I would love myself to be, but I am not that. And yeah, I think it's so impressive. And I think yeah, we really got to like witness the joy that came from him getting to see that through. And I'm so grateful that like I got to be present for that because he's a great person and really fun to just watch him like there was this like gleefulness that he had, it was like a child on Christmas watching him like bring this to life and be as excited about it as he was. And yeah, for me as an actor, it is really exciting to be with all these people. It's also like a challenge in itself because one thing they teach you a lot is like you really have to be open to, I mean, if you see, I have to be open to your interpretation, especially because we don't get to talk beforehand and we don't really let that happen. Some moves cool because you can come in with how you think the scene's going to do, and then someone catches you off guard and does something totally different, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Oh, okay, I need to shift." And yeah, it's a tennis match kind of, and it's really fun if you are open to it.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
as an actor, you're dealing with a lot of, rejection with auditions and then the work of auditions. And I have to think is being on set like the moments that are and make it, yeah.
Yes, like yes. I mean, auditions are cool and fun and it's great, but it does kind of become part of the job and but yeah, being on set is like that's why we do it, It's just it's so fulfilling and it's you work really hard and you don't get a ton of until you're in a position where you are really being reached out to for work and stuff like that. Yeah, I luckily I don't look at the no's as rejection anymore. It's
Oh,
just
that's good.
yeah, which is good. And I think that's a huge thing that you have to just come to terms with. Like there's a lot of amazing people out there and like just because someone's better for the role doesn't take anything away from me. It just means there's better people for her role, you know? But yeah, being on set is the best. And it's so fun. And it's just like, yeah, you're doing it's sometimes like we have the craziest, longest days, or it's like freezing outside or it's pouring, and we're doing this like really mundane thing like over and over and over again. And I leave and I'm still like, that was the best day ever. And I'm like, I don't know why, because that wasn't fun, but it was so fun, you know?
Yeah.
It feels right. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I love hearing that from your perspective because yeah, it was just really cool to see all of you working together and all the different roles that a casual viewer doesn't think about to see people create in person is really special.
there's still roles that I don't even know. And I think that the best thing you can do be like, I know a little knowledge here and there. I'm always trying to learn more and more, but there are so many people who are like the professional in what they're doing, and all of those positions are so important, whether I even know what they're called or not. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, it's a collective experience.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the fans on these pages that I'll be sharing this chat to met Daniel and Aaron through When Calls the Heart, of course. And did you know about the history there about them reuniting? When did you find out? Does that put any added pressure, or how'd you deal with that?
Um, yeah, that has been a ever evolving understanding for me. I mean, I was informed like it was those two actors coming together. I didn't know much about When Calls the Heart, so I didn't know the importance level of this reuniting. And so as I started to look up Aaron, my algorithm started algorithming, and she started just like popping up on my explore page all the time. And I was like, I started sending her screenshots. So I was like, can you get out of my phone, please? Come on. Like, I can't get enough of you. Like, I see you every day. Like, stop. And she was just like, yeah, people, I don't know, people really like the show. And then, yeah, as we were filming, we were like, people kept saying, like, this is going to be special. This is going to be a good one. This is special. And then since it's been finished and now like it's starting to be released, and it was just so exciting to watch the fans find out about this reuniting and to see the feedback. And it's really like taken me not by surprise, because I feel like I was kind of ready for it, but just it's been like an overwhelming response, and it's very exciting. And it does feel, and I actually recently met a very dedicated When Calls the Heart fan. And we kind of ran into each other, and to see how much that show means to them, and how excited she was for this movie to come out was like, it meant a lot. It
Mhm.
felt like really important. And that's like yeah, it took me by surprise a little bit. And I'm just excited. And yeah, it's a little bit intimidating, I will say. Just in the way that like I want this to be exactly what everyone's hoping it is, and I have a good
Yeah.
feeling about it. Like I really do. But also, a position that I'm coming from as an actor is I'm up there with five already very loved Hallmark stars, and I'm over here like new girl to the club, and I'm like, I just hope I can like bring, I hope people are excited with what they see, and I hope they like it, and I hope that like my role is a nice contribution to what I think people already are expecting out of these actors that they're used to seeing. And
Mhm.
yeah, I'm excited. And
Love that.
yeah, I think it's just yeah, more pressure, because sometimes you do these homeworks and there's so many, and you're like, yeah, people are going to be watching them, but there's certain ones you do, and this one has been so much more of that, of like, okay, this is like important to people.
I love that. Well, and the cool thing about Hardee's is that if they see you in that world and the performance resonates, like you will have fans for life. Like, I mean, we will watch you in the other work that you do and like, oh, That was Jess. She did Aaron and Dan's movie with them, and people just love to support ensemble casts, which this almost is with all of you in it, um, and find some kind of attachment to all the characters, right? So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I do see that. I do see that. I see that loyalty and I see that excitement and I see that support. And I mean, at this point, all I can do is hope that people want to get behind me too, because I want this career with Hallmark to go further than it is and to continue. And I understand that parties have they got a strong pull, you know?
A little bit, a little bit.
Like they're very powerful.
A little bit. Well, please adopt Jess. We got too fun. Well, just recently, Countdown to Christmas just kicked off, and there was Amy Groening, I think is her name. I'm not sure, but she was somebody who kind of started in like more supporting roles, and just for the first time, they put her in a lead. You know, it's like when you see those standouts, and hopefully that's you, then people love to support those actors, and it's really cool when you see them move into those roles and shine. So.
Yeah, I love that for her, and I'm so excited for her. That's I'm sure that's something she's been working on for a while, and yeah, I hope to have that same experience sometime.
Well, and in the Wind Calls the Heart world, you also worked with Paul Green, didn't you, on a film for Great American, I think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure on that actually.
Oh.
Oh, he's a sibling.
So how was that experience with him? He has such a big heart. He's such a ray of light.
Really, I have such a place in my heart for that man. I mean, that was like a very interesting experience because so not to bring the mood down, but I got the day that we were starting to shoot that movie, I got really, really bad news of a passing of a very, very close, long friend of mine. And it was very sudden and unexpected. And the thing about film is you can't call in, you
Yeah.
go and you do it. And it was a very crazy experience filming that for me because it took a lot of compartmentalizing and focus. And, I was working a lot of days and in a time where I like wanted to run home and get the support from my family and my friends who knew him, I couldn't. Um, and Paul was just, he, for someone too that had such a big role to play in that movie and had so many other things to focus on, he was just so amazing and like so supportive and really like he really helped me with the focus because he was so there and available but didn't make it the focus of our work and didn't draw too much attention to it. He just kind of met me where I was at every day and really brought it. And actually this chair I'm sitting in he got me because our characters in the movie owned an antique store and and I would always sit in this chair every day. And I was like, I really like this chair. I kind of want to get it. And on the first and end of the first week, I showed up at my trailer and it was there. He had like contacted the owner of the store and purchased
Oh,
and had it moved to my trailer. And like, I know, right?
so sweet. Yeah.
Along with Jill Wagner, she was, I think they were masterminding together. But yeah, like not necessary, but so appreciated. I have such a huge spot in my heart for him. And
Uh,
yeah, so yeah, nothing would not couldn't say a single bad thing about him. And also he liked to play guitar on set and I loved that. And that was and yeah, really, really grateful to have worked with him. And yeah, kind of fun that it feels very full circle how all of these
Yeah.
well, One Calls the Heart is seriously like the heart of this whole thing.
Yeah, that's really cool. You should have did Dan play on set at all? He's also a guitar. He and Paul used to play together sometime.
Like Dan Lissing, did I get to work with him? No, Dan
Mhm.
saw each other in passing often. We were like two ships in the night, we'd like high five or wave at each other. We
Yeah.
probably talked the most after we wrapped because we all went out for a celebratory drink and stuff. And I think that's the longest conversation I'd ever had with them, and it wasn't even that long. So sweet. We were supposed to have a scene together, like I'd said before, but it got removed. But yeah, I got a great vibe from him too, and I'm not surprised that those two worked really well together.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, you're already like part of the When Calls the Heart family. I mean, like peripherally, you're officially adopted.
And it was cool too because like the makeup artists and the hair artists were all the When Calls the Heart people. And then, like the horse trainer was a When Calls the Heart person. We were joking. We were like, okay, so when's my role? I feel like I'm the only one who hasn't been on it.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, there is a photo of you, speaking of the horse wrangler. There is one of the promo pics has you with the yeah. She's got to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Jesus. I love it. Well, on that note, before we let you go, is there anything else that you have like coming up that we can support you in or see you in or
I mean, I'm working on a Hallmark right now. I don't think I can say much about it, except for that, we're planning for the next holiday, um, and it should come out in the spring. But yeah, we're just in the middle of shooting right now, so
oh fun.
no, nothing on the burner right now.
Yeah. Well,
Looking for.
this movie is, and all of the countdown to Christmas movies are a part of like our holiday traditions as viewers. Do you have any holiday traditions you're looking forward to this year? It's so weird because it's only October to be talking about it.
Halloween yet, but I'm that type of person though. Like I was just showing my boyfriend something on Instagram yesterday. I was like, this is how I'm gonna decorate the house. And like I get excited about Christmas. I'm like, okay,
So,
move over Halloween, let's go. Um,
well, you're on the right network then because they start now already.
true. Um, yeah, I mean, we've always done like this like open house on Christmas Eve at my parents' house, and it started as like this big thing, and now it's kind of whittled down to like these three families of ours that have always gotten together, and we have this tradition. At the end of the night, the oldest person in the house reads the night before Christmas, and everyone cuddles up, and it's super cute. And like my whole thing is just like spending as much time with the family as possible and begging people to play board games with me because I love board games. Uh, but this year, actually, my brother had a baby this year, or had the baby, obviously. And yeah, so he'll be turning a year on December 28th. So this will be our first Christmas.
Oh,
Yeah, so I'm just like really excited to bring kids back into the picture, because we've been all adults for the last little while, and it's not news to anyone that kids really bring like the Christmas spirit and the fun back into it. And so I'm just looking forward to seeing what kind of like new traditions we want to start. And
right. Yeah, with the little one in the picture, they might change a bit. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he won't know what's going on this Christmas, but kind of leaving it up to my brother and sister-in-law to decide what it is like they want our new traditions to be and stuff.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
so
But you
special.
get to see
Yeah,
family.
it's so interesting that you said that because my family is also all adults now. My youngest nephew turned 18 last year, and so we don't have any little ones anymore. So yeah, it's a lot. We still spend a lot of time together, and there's a lot of games involved, like your family. That's like part of the Stevens tradition on our side. So yeah. And we're all getting together to watch Santa Tell Me, so they're all excited for this one as well. But
I can't wait to hear what you think of it. I really hope it's everything that we think it's going to be. Yeah, I feel really confident it's going to be something special and that people are going to want to keep, and hopefully it's becomes part of people's traditions.
I love that. Yeah. Well, I started something new that I threw at Ryan at the last minute. And well, since it's called Santa Tell Me, I feel like we need to end these chats with like, if you could ask Santa one thing, what would you want Santa to tell you? A little hone
Oh,
into that Christmas magic. What would you?
oh, there's so many things to know.
Right?
I would want to know, man, that's hard. Do you have one yet?
Um, well, I can share that both Ryan and I we want to know who Olivia will choose in the end of Santa Tell Me.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. I also want to know that. Yeah. I also want to I want to know what happens to the other men after this story as well.
I
Where's
like that. Yeah.
she gonna get up to? Yeah.
Yeah. I do. There's definitely some spin-off potential I'm sensing. So
Yeah.
yeah, it would be
I mean, there could be. Who knows?
fun. We're here for it. We're here for it all. Well, it was so lovely chatting with you, Jess. Thanks for taking time, and especially since you're shooting right now, thanks for finding some time.
It's my pleasure. Yeah, thank you. It's so great to see you again.
Yeah, you too. And for you guys at home, be sure to tune in November 9th, 8, 7 Central on Hallmark Channel. So close. It's so close. Do you tweet? Are you on X at all? Or mostly Instagram?
No, I'm mostly Instagram. I should probably get on X. I never know what to call it. It's X, right? But
It is X now. I still call it Twitter.
I should get on it. I should. Because, it's like I remember when Bringing Christmas Home was coming out, there was like a lot of action on there. It was really fun to see everyone's kind of like live stuff. So maybe I'll have to get on.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Some of us will be live tweeting, so just a couple weeks away. So thanks so much, and we will talk soon. Bye, everyone.